After the funeral, the silence in Margaret's house was deafening. Her husband, Tom, had been gone for 2 weeks. She still reached for his coffee mug in the morning, still listened for the creak of his footsteps in the hall. But what weighed most heavily on her wasn't just the loss, it was the sudden onslaught of decisions. Paperwork piled high. Family gave well meaning but conflicting advice. She was alone, grieving, and vulnerable. Like many who have lost a spouse, Margaret soon realized that grief doesn't pause life. The world keeps moving, and choices still have to be made. In the weeks following Tom's death, she stumbled into several traps, decisions she would later regret. She wasn't alone. Thousands of widows and widowers face similar pitfalls. Here are 5 of the most costly mistakes and how to avoid them. 1. Making major financial decisions too quickly. 3 weeks after Tom's passing, Margaret sat at her kitchen table with a stack of brochures from a retirement community. Her son had suggested she downsize. "It'll be easier," he said. "Too much space in this house." Grief clouded her thinking, and the idea of change felt like control, something she desperately wanted. She was days from signing a deposit check when a friend intervened. "Wait 6 months," the friend said. "You're still in shock. Give yourself time." It was good advice. In the fog of loss, it's easy to make rash decisions, selling a home, giving away property, or cashing out investments. But the first 6 to 12 months after a spouse dies is often too emotionally volatile to make irreversible financial moves. Experts suggest waiting, creating a temporary financial plan, and consulting a trusted advisor before acting. 2. Ignoring or mishandling life insurance and benefits. Margaret had no idea where Tom's life insurance policy was. They had talked about it once, vaguely. "It's filed somewhere in the study," he had said. After days of sorting through old papers, she found it, nearly expired. She had just made the claim in time. Others aren't as fortunate. Some widows overlook policies entirely, especially if their spouse handled the finances. Others don't realize they're entitled to benefits like Social Security survivor payments, pension payouts, or veteran support. The mistake? Assuming everything will come to you automatically. You often have to file paperwork, meet deadlines, and follow up. Missing these can cost you thousands. After losing a spouse, it's crucial to take inventory, locate all insurance policies, contact your spouse's employer or pension plan, and talk to Social Security about what's available. 3. Letting others rush or guilt you into decisions. Margaret's daughter thought she should move in. "You shouldn't be alone," she insisted. "Dad would have wanted this." For a moment, Margaret felt selfish for even hesitating. But something in her resisted. She loved her daughter, but didn't want to live under her roof. This is common. After a loss, people may try to fix things. Some offer well-meaning advice. Others push their own agendas. The pressure can feel overwhelming, especially when you're emotionally raw. Many widows agree to things they don't really want, relocating, giving away possessions, or changing their lifestyle to suit others. The key? Remember that this is your life. You are allowed to set boundaries, take time, and make decisions when you are ready. 4. Failing to update legal documents and accounts. Weeks turned into months, and one morning, Margaret opened a letter from the bank. Tom's name was still on the joint account, and because of that, some transactions were frozen. Worse, his name was also listed as her power of attorney and healthcare proxy. It hadn't even occurred to her to update those details. When your spouse dies, your legal and financial landscape changes. Wills need revising. Beneficiaries on accounts and policies may need updating. Titles, deeds, and powers of attorney should be reviewed. If you don't make these changes, it can cause legal tangles later, especially if you fall ill or pass away without clear documentation. Consulting with an estate attorney soon after your loss can save you and your family headaches down the road. 5. Isolating yourself in your grief. The hardest part for Margaret wasn't the paperwork or the planning. It was the loneliness, the silence at dinner, the absence of shared routines. She found herself retreating more each day, avoiding calls, skipping events, and pulling away from friends. "I'm just tired," she would say. But it wasn't just that. She was grieving, and grief made her world small. Isolation is a slow danger. It can deepen depression, delay healing, and erode the very social ties that help people rebuild. Yet it's incredibly common. Widowhood often comes with a shift in identity, especially after decades of partnership. Without support, it's easy to withdraw. What helped Margaret, eventually, was a grief support group at her church. There, among others who had walked the same road, she found not just empathy, but direction. She started volunteering, made new friends. She learned to talk about Tom not as a wound, but as a memory. Widowhood is more than a legal status, it's a life altering transformation. For Margaret, every day brought reminders of Tom, but also small steps forward. She learned not just how to survive, but how to navigate the aftermath with clarity. She kept the house. She redid her will. She sorted through their finances, even started a small garden like Tom had always wanted. Most importantly, she learned to be gentle with herself. She made space for grief, but didn't let it make her reckless. Avoiding these 5 mistakes didn't take away the pain, but it gave her structure. It gave her time to think clearly, act wisely, and honor her husband without losing herself in the process. For anyone walking the same path, Margaret would say this: you don't have to rush. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to keep going, one steady choice at a time.